Biden's new ATF nominee. Wash, rinse, repeat. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. But we really need to talk about this. Biden has now nominated another individual to head the ATF. This gentleman's name is Steve Dettelbach. And we need to know as much about him as possible because from all indications, he is nothing more than a repeat of what we saw with David Chipman. If you remember, David Chipman was nominated, then his nomination was rescinded because some Democrats weren't going to vote for him. He didn't have the votes to get him through. So he has this gentleman here that he has put up, and we're going to look into this person. There's a bit of information here. I don't care how you get it. You get it from me. You get it from the articles, which I link to as I always do. But you need to look into this guy because some of the things that I've looked into and things I've read already, I am not comfortable with this person. But from the website The Truth About Guns, who is Steve Dettelbach, the man Biden is reportedly considering to head the ATF. Joe Biden is considering nominating another staunch anti-gunner to head the ATF, according to Politico, even though millions of angry American gun owners helped scuttle Biden's first choice, David Chipman, because of Chipman's long history of anti-gun advocacy. If you remember, David Chipman was actually a part of an anti-gun group. He was a big advocate within that group, and people felt it tainted his nomination, which of course it did, and quite understandably, his overall attitude towards guns and gun ownership didn't help either. But several sources allegedly told online news site that Biden will choose Steve Dettelbach, the former United States Attorney for the Northern District of Ohio. Dettelbach, a Democrat, ran unsuccessfully for Ohio's Attorney General in 2018, losing to Republican Dave Yost. Dettelbach was endorsed by Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Everytown for gun safety, and there's all the warning signs that you need. Dettelbach is running on a platform that includes everything from strengthening enforcement of gun safety laws in Ohio and esports, closing the background check loophole, and keeping guns out of the hands of domestic abusers. That I personally don't have a problem with. If you are convicted of domestic abuse, you should not have access to a firearm. But that's another video. His opponent, Dave Yost, is endorsed by the NRA. Everytown announced in the 2018 press release, Everytown is all in on the midterm elections, and gun violence survivors and volunteers with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America will be knocking on doors and making calls to elect Dettelbach and other gun sense candidates. That didn't work out too well for them. During his campaign for AG, Dettelbach called for reinstating the failed assault weapons ban and for universal background checks. I've always said, you know how to use that language? Universal background checks, but they don't tell you what it is. They don't tell you what it is. How is it better or different than the NICS system that we're using now? They don't tell you that. They just call it universal background check and everybody applauds. But he opposed Yost's plan to arm teachers and school staff who had prior military and law enforcement experience. I think this is a politician's plan, quite frankly. I mean, it doesn't protect people in a meaningful way. Well, that's kind of a stupid statement. If you have teachers at the point of contact who are armed, they definitely have a better chance of protecting people than waiting for the police to show up, minutes later. But it's more than a day late and more than $1 short, Dettelbach told WSU. Now, Twitter history. Unlike Chipman, who locked his Twitter account before his nomination process, Dettelbach's Twitter account is still active. While his tweets are cautious about what you'd expect from a candidate who's run for statewide office, Dettelbach has clearly expressed frustration over mass murders and his lack of ability to do something about gun violence. Well, how about you do something about violence in general? You might find out that gun violence will go right along with that solution. But I've talked about that in a previous video. Okay, and then they have in this article here, and this is from Truth About Guns. As I said, it's going to be linked in below. he starts talking about different tweets about when different events happen around the country. He jumps in with his 2 cents on Twitter. So there's no need to get into that, because really this video is going to be about who he is and what is and what he's going to do in such a powerful position. But I'm going to jump all the way to the end of this article. Takeaways. Dettelbach's nomination should be of extreme concern for gun owners. If he is confirmed as ATF director, he could do something about gun violence that would infringe upon our right to keep and bear arms, because that's the only answer these people have. We're going to infringe on people who have done nothing, with the ludicrous ideal that we're going to somehow prevent gun violence. Dettelbach, like Biden's first choice to run ATF, is staunchly anti-gun. We can't allow Biden to give another anti-gun zealot the means to further erode our God-given Second Amendment rights. So, as I said, that was truth about guns. And of course, it's coming from the perspective of a very, pro-gun position. But I have an article here also from the Daily Caller. And it's titled, "Here's What You Need to Know About Biden's New ATF Nominee." Bullet points. Steve Dettelbach, President Joe Biden's pick to head the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, has a long history of issuing statements and backing measures opposing gun rights. Dettelbach supported a number of gun control measures during a failed campaign to be Ohio's Attorney General in 2018, including bans on so-called assault weapons and universal background checks. The National Rifle Association and National Shooting Sports Foundation both raised concern about Dettelbach's record. I'm not going to read all this because a lot of it is a repeat of the last article, but there's more information spread out over these different articles. That's why I'm referring to different sources. And we go right to the second paragraph here. Dettelbach has a history of backing gun control measures, promoting several firearms restrictions during an unsuccessful 2018 campaign to become Ohio's Attorney General, and making multiple posts on social media calling on America to take action in the wake of high-profile shootings. He told WOSU that he supported universal background checks and bans on so-called assault weapons during his campaign. This is a no-brainer. During the campaign, Dettelbach received endorsements from prominent gun control groups, of course, Every Town for Gun Safety, as well as former President Barack Obama and Biden. Now, this is going back to this other article where he spoke about arming, he was against actually arming teachers at schools. Now, this is a statement from Amy Hunter, who's the spokesperson for the NRA, and it pretty much encompasses what's going on here. President Biden's new pick to head the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, is a rinse and repeat from his last unsuitable nominee, David Chipman. Amy Hunter, spokeswoman for the National Rifle Association, told the DCNF, the new nominee, Stephen Dettelbach, is a dedicated gun controller who has supported gun bans, restriction on lawful firearm transfers, and expansion of prohibitions on those who can possess firearms. Dettelbach's history proves he cannot be trusted to work objectively and fairly with law-abiding gun owners, the firearms industry, or law enforcement. He will serve only to further restrict Americans' rights. The National Shooting Sports Foundation, one of the gun industry's largest trade organizations, said it had significant concerns regarding Dettelbach's previous public statements supporting bans on modern sporting rifles, MSRs, or AR-15 semi-automatic rifles, universal background checks, which are unworkable without a national firearms registry that is already forbidden by federal law, and extreme risk protection orders, or so-called red flag laws, without protections for due process considerations. They said this in a statement Monday. Dettelbach did not respond to requests for further comment from the Daily Caller News Foundation. No surprise there. Now, I'm going to jump right over to this article from CNN because once again, I'm not reading the whole thing. I'm just going to pick out the pieces that are of absolute interest to us as gun owners. CNN, Biden's pick to lead ATF faces tough road to confirmation. Yes, he should. You're going to be nominated for a very powerful position, yet it should be a tough road. Okay, I'm going to jump right down to tough road to confirmation. The ATF post is a tough confirmation fight that this White House knows well. Biden had previously nominated David Chipman, a former ATF career official, to lead the agency, but the White House withdrew Chipman's nomination in September after it became clear he did not have the votes in the Senate to get confirmed. Some senators questioned if his past record as an advocate for stricter gun laws would make him a less effective director. But this new nominee is definitely in the same boat as Chipman when it comes to that attitude. He is an advocate for stricter gun control laws, so would that not be a conflict of interest putting him in this position? Confirming a qualified nominee to lead the ATF should be a unifying priority in the Senate, yet the problem is the same one that has foiled ATF confirmation since 2015, the gun lobby. Durbin said, calling Dettelbach a highly respected former U.S. attorney and career prosecutor. This is Dick Durbin, who's the Illinois Democrat, once again, another anti-gun Democrat, who's praising this guy. What do you expect from them? I don't expect anything less from them, because it's not necessarily about who's qualified, it's about politics and who will do their bidding. Leaders of major gun control groups praised Dettelbach's nomination and urged the Senate to swiftly confirm him. John Feinblatt, president of Everytown for Gun Safety, said in a statement that Dettelbach would be a strong leader and thanked the Biden administration for doubling down on his commitment to gun safety. Having somebody come in who's just going to carte blanche make bans across the board has nothing to do with anyone's safety. They damn well know this, because it's not about anybody's safety. Because if it's about safety, they have something to say about the 8 people who got their lives taken from them by an idiot with the SUV. I mean, a man who rented a Home Depot truck, killed a number of people with it. This is not about safety. Okay, it's about this person doing their bidding. That's it. Now, this is another part here where the nomination comes the same day the president announced new firearm regulations to contain the use of so-called ghost guns. Stupid term. Which are self-assembled firearms that do not have serial numbers, making them difficult to track and regulate. Ghost guns are often put together with parts sold online, which allows buyers to sidestep a background check. These weapons are sometimes referred to as privately made firearms, because that's what they really are, or PMFs by officials. Biden last year described gun violence in America as an epidemic and called it an international embarrassment after a string of mass shootings. That's an interesting way to put yourself. But our gun violence is an international embarrassment. It's just coming from the same person who basically the Saudis won't take his phone calls. They'll talk to Putin. They'll talk to Zelensky. They won't talk to him, but okay, all right. But as I said, there is a lot of information here, and I leave all the links in the articles below. Sorry, I'm just readjusting this. But obviously, Biden has just picked David Chipman 2.0 to run the ATF. And unfortunately, in Connecticut, where I live, we have 2 chuckleheads at it. Let's put it nicely. Who will no doubt vote for vote for the guy. So we are a lost cause when it comes to that. But a number of you states, especially Midwest states that have Democrat senators, you need to let them know that you're not, that this person is not qualified for this job, and start to put the hammer down, because that's basically what happened to David Chipman. A lot of red state Democrats were not comfortable with nominating him or bringing him into that position because, well, they're red states and they know that people will turn on them. But as I said, read up on this guy, learn about him. I know I have viewers from around the country. You got to look into this guy. He's quite honestly, he is dangerous. You're going to put a person in charge of regulating firearms, among other things, who has a definite anti-gun position. That is a conflict of interest. Need to get on that. So let's watch this very closely, and I'm hoping that the Senate will ask the real hard questions and ask him about his past and what he has done, because he's definitely not the right person for this position. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. As always, any statements to violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time a video goes live, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.